Thank you, madam. Thank you, Dr. Mamta. And so nice elaborative. The Caho, what Caho is doing. Very good. Thank you. Now we'll start the session. Now the first speaker is Dr. KAMINI KHILLAN. She's a MD pathologist and vice chair department of blood transfusion medicine. A blood transfusion specialist with the 21 years of experience in the field, extremely motivated to constantly develop in my skills and grow professionally. Her main skills are she's an NABH assessor for blood banks, quality manager, blood transfusion services, immunohematology, hemovigilance, therapeutic apheresis, molecular blood group genetics. And her special interest and affiliations are she is a technical expert, a special initiative by Blood Cell, National Health Mission, NHM, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, in collaboration with the National Institute of Biologicals, NIB, develop a pool of skilled and trained manpower for total quality management approach for blood center. This is a training of trainers for strengthening of blood services and e-Rakta course. Very good, madam. Thank you. And working, she's also in working group committee hosted by the DSACS, Delhi State AIDS Control Society, for networking of the blood banks in Delhi. Okay. Thank you, madam. And madam is taking first topic. Over to Dr. Kamini Khillan, madam. Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Caho. Thank you, Dr. Mamta. And thank you, Dr. Yoganand, for giving this opportunity, for taking up particularly a topic which is very, you can say, close to my field as well as to my heart, and that is topic which I was basically being considering is one life touching many lives, the power of voluntary donation. The voluntary blood donation is something which we all know is the most important thing as far as the blood safety is concerned. A repeat voluntary donor is considered as the best because there is nothing to hide and he is altruistically coming in forward to donate blood. Now, in my presentation, I would like to go through the process of how we can, as motivators, go through the process of increasing the number of voluntary blood donations. So it's not just me getting motivated, but if I'm able to motivate one other person who is able to motivate another person, then we are definitely creating an army of voluntary blood donors. And in a way, one life of ours is touching many lives. So it may not be directly a patient care, our blood directly going to a patient, but it could be a motivator is acting in a similar manner. So somehow on these lines, I have tried to prepare my talk. So WHO, brief history, this celebration of the World Blood Donor Day, this was started in the year 2004 by WHO. And over a period of 20 years, they have come up with slogans and they have come up with campaigns every year with different focus. Sometimes they focus on the specifically maternal health. Sometimes they focus on safety of blood. So this time they have focused on give blood, give hope, where they are not only telling that you donate more blood, but once you are donating, how it is going to impact the patient as well. So when you donate blood, you are also giving hope to a family, to a person, or in general to the society. And so together we can basically save lives. So this is the slogan or the context behind the slogan that they have given for this year, that is a 2025. Little bit of statistics, and in this I would just like to tell you that there are almost 118 million blood donations are collected worldwide, and 40% of these are collected in the high income countries. If we look at the lower and the middle income countries, the number of donations that we can see is just 6 donations per 1,000 people. And this is, we are talking in terms of voluntary donations, which is very, very less. This gap that is existing is not only because of the awareness, but there are certain myths which are associated, and also the promotion of voluntary blood donation, which we need to do all over the year so as to bring out the people or the best in the people to come forward and donate blood. And if we look at this figure which is present here, you will find that this is giving you source is e-Raktakosh, and this is a portal which was created by the government, in which everybody or all the blood banks are supposed to mandatorily register themselves and put in their data. So as for now, around in 2024, we have 4263 blood banks or blood centers which are basically registered with the e-Raktakosh. And not going into the details of the numbers, I'm not very good at numbers, but what I would like to highlight at this particular slide is the last two bars which are there showing 2024, and you will find that the orange bar is showing you the total collection which is happening via camp, and blue is what is showing you in general which is happening through the blood banks or blood centers. So see the gap, the one which we assume that happening in the camps is 100% voluntary, but the amount of blood donations which are happening in the blood centers are much more. It's very good, but they are reflection, majorly almost 90% you can say, is the reflection of the replacement donation. So this gap that we are finding in the numbers here is something which we need to cover up so as to bring out a large number of the voluntary donations that we want to have. So if we try to understand this concept of voluntary blood donation, then we'll find that we can go through three processes. We can try to promote it through three different means. One is to create Mythbusters Club. We can go through the processes where we are actually trying to give the information to the general public, not only to the people who are coming to our blood banks or this, but in general through the social media. We can act as mythbusters, and we can give out certain informations which will allay the fear which is there in the people's mind. The second is the altruistic behavior of voluntary blood donation, and there are a lot of studies being done in the Western world also, where they are trying to find out what kind of altruism works for which type of people. The altruism is something where you are doing something selflessly, but then altruism is also not true altruism. There is still, they say there is nothing called true altruism. Even if you are saying there is a happiness that you are getting out of doing something for somebody, it is still, there is a meaning to it. There is a self happiness. So there is no true altruism. But yes, the altruism for different people can have different meanings, and they can also have different reasons to have those altruisms, and those can be looked into as cultural differences, and we can look into those things which work best for our culture, for our world, for our people in India, and we can utilize that. And the third is a nudge theory. This is something which is a behavioral concept. Actually, this theory is for behavioral economics, and I'll come to the slides a little later. I'm just giving you an overview. And behavior economics tells you that suppose a water bottle is kept at your table, it's more likely that you will go, and even if you're not feeling very thirsty, you may just pick up and drink it. So that's a kind of nudge to drink more water throughout the day. So that's the kind of things, these are salient nudges which we can do through our processes, where we can improve upon the process of the recruitment of people or directing the people, giving them the choices, and ultimately bringing out more of voluntary blood donors. So Mythbusters Club, am I the right type? This is something, a small logo that you see here. The red ball that you are seeing here, a red drop. This was sort of designed by me, half of it. I colored it for the purpose. And this is, in nutshell, I'll just go through briefly. Why I'm going to go through this briefly is the people who are connected now are the ones which are going to have certain questions. They may have certain questions. They're not from the blood bank. They may be having those questions, and they may be facing people who are asking them questions that, okay, I want to go and donate blood. So if this is the condition, should I go donate blood or not? So these are some of the questions which they may be facing sometimes, or just as general information, I will provide with respect to the each point. And the first one says that I'm too old. So as per the mandate, if you are between 18 years of age to 60 years of the age, it's very good, safe enough to. 19 is not young and 60 is not old. So if you are healthy, if you are in a good state of mind, you can simply go for blood donation between 18 years and 60 years of the age. Then I'm anemic. Now this anemic is a condition where it varies a lot. But for us, blood donation, 12.5 gram percent is the cutoff. So if we are taking a blood which is less than 12.5 also, then we are doing a wrong thing in the terms that not only are we making the donor having a 1 gram percent less hemoglobin, we are also not providing the quality blood. The amount of hemoglobin, the amount of oxygen carrying capacity is less. So we check for the level of hemoglobin, which is 12.5 as a cutoff, and then only we take. So to worry as a donor that we are, okay, I'm anemic and would be able to give, then 12.5 is a very good enough cutoff that person can donate. I'm too small. This is like, you can say, weight to height ratio. And in India, for single unit or whole blood donation, 45 kgs is also good enough. But for when we want to make components, the amount of blood that we collect is 450 ml, and we require at least 55 kg weight for the collection of that much amount of the blood. So this is the weight criteria that is normally followed when the blood collections is done. And nobody has ever asked me, this is something altruistic. Again, we'll go to that a little later. And I'm on medication. This is, I would say that with a lot of lifestyle related diseases happening nowadays, everybody has some or the other problem. Maybe a high blood pressure, maybe a person is diabetic, or simply the hypothyroidism that we're getting so commonly nowadays. So that considering all this, we have guidelines which tell us that if a person is diabetic, is not having any complications, and is not on insulin, and there has been no changes in the drug or the medicines that he's taking, or the fluctuations in the sugar level for the past 3 months, the person is good to go. That's for the diabetes. Similarly, for the blood pressure medicines, if there are no associated complications and your blood pressure systolic is maintained at say around 160 and your diastolic is around 100, you are good to go with even with your medications. So with hypothyroidism also, you're taking your medication, you are euthyroid, you can go and simply donate blood. So these are some of the common things which are present. And apart from this, medications like your antibiotic you've taken, or you are even simply having a tooth extraction, those are some of the common ones, or you have taken an aspirin. So these defer you temporarily. With aspirin, it takes around 3 days. And for rest of the conditions, it takes approximately 2 weeks before you can go in for donations. Of course, there are almost 40 questions that we ask a person before a person becomes eligible for blood donation, including the simple thing that whether you had meal or not, or you slept well or not. So there are so many things which go into having a healthy donors. These are some of the common questions that come forward. And it will make me weak. This is something which people feel a fear of. But here, you just have to consider that if you are having a proper hemoglobin, if your height and weight measure amount that we are collecting is fine, you're not on any medications, untoward medications, then you are good to go for your blood donations. And of course, important thing to remember, there are over enthusiastic people who are donating more than say every 3 months is ideal for a male, and every 4 months is ideal for a female. And in Indian scenario, with the kind of diet that we are having, if you are such a regular donor, then you must at least go for looking for your iron stores for a period of, say, after 6 months or after 1 year, and look for that, and then only you decide on your. But that's the only thing that could actually make you sort of feel weak. Otherwise, your body recovers. With the platelets, it's safe enough to go after 3 days itself. And for blood donation, I told you it's 3 months for males and 4 months for females. Then you wouldn't want my blood. I'm a common group. And of course, O is very common. But if I want to build an inventory, if I want to collect the blood, I would go for O group. Reason, O is something which anybody and everybody can be transfused with. It's a universal donor. So O, don't be unhappy. You come and we'll take you. And that is the best blood to, in fact, donate. I've recently been overseas. Usually this is with respect to yellow fever, malaria, and there are certain other conditions which you have to take care of. But if you have gone to a malaria infested region, then you definitely need to be having a definite period. All these are defined in the drug controller documents that we are having. Now, I'm afraid of getting AIDS. This is also one of the things that they feel people that, okay, I'll donate blood and I may get some kind of infection, especially AIDS. So remember, if you are donating at a standard blood bank or a very recognized center, even which is holding a camp, if your system is maintaining all the sterility and the blood bag is opened right in front of you with the needle cap removed, then there is hardly no chance of getting patient. Transfusion per se may cause 1%, but donation is not going to cause AIDS. Then there are other conditions like I hate needles. This is again the mental strength. I'm too busy and too inconvenient. This is all related to your altruistic behavior. You can find time for everything if you really want to. So these are some of the things which most commonly are asked about, and I've tried to shorten the answers so that I do not overshoot my time. And the World Health Organization recommends that at least 1% of the country's population should donate blood annually. That's the protocol, or that is the standard that they have kept, which helps us understand that how much we are lacking currently. And the solution lies in regular, voluntary, non-remunerated blood donation. Why we are saying this? Because a person who is regularly donating, who is non-remunerated, is somebody who has nothing to hide. A replacement donor sometimes may be under pressure, and in fact most of the time is under pressure to hide some amount of the history because he is under pressure to donate for his or her own kin. So that's why a regular, voluntary, non-remunerated blood donation is the best, and the person is also regularly being tested at every 3 months. And a single donation can save up to 3 lives because we are making different components out of it, and we also increase the shelf life of those components. With packed cells, whole blood, if it is 35 days, with packed cells, we can go up to say 42 days. Similarly, platelets, 5 days, apheresis, 5 days, and plasma, it becomes 1 year, FFP, when we are basically storing it. And these are the conditions in which mostly we are requiring, with cancer cases increasing, with the surgeries increasing with older population, we are getting more and more requirements of the blood that we are using in the patients. This is simply giving you an overview of the life cycle of a donated blood. And once it is collected, it is tested, we are taking components out of it, and then as and when required, it is being issued. Of course, if you really want that blood should be utilized well and not going to a mosquito bar for the purpose of being utilized in the wrong way, then we should go in for donating it. And the mandatory testings which are required to be done are for HIV, hepatitis B and C, syphilis, and malaria. And the minimum mandate is going for ELISA, but we at the higher centers, we are also doing CLIA, that is chemiluminescence, and we go up to NAT, that is nucleic acid testing, which definitely reduces the window period of the transmission of a disease. With HIV, it almost reduces to 6 days if we are testing it by NAT. So now next 2 slides are a little interesting, and this one and the next one, this is something which I asked ChatGPT, and I tried to ask it that what kind of altruism we can work on, or how we can connect ourselves to voluntary blood donation, and it came out with this Sanskrit shloka, and it also gave me that Brahmatva is something which we feel, which we connect with, and we are altruistic when we feel so. So it karma. We are also thinking that the recipient, we are not thinking about the caste or creed of the religion of the person. And so it's non-duality of spirit. It is also telling us that preserving somebody's life is an act of reverence, and we are, divine spark in them is being recognized by us. And it's the compassion in the spiritual practice through action, that is karma yoga. And it was fantastic the way it came out with this answer to me. I just could not say that I would not present it. And this is something which ChatGPT is telling me it's totally AI generated. Then, so what motivates this altruistic behavior in an individual? So we know that when we think of donating going to be pricked with a needle, and the reaction or the this the feeling that the person is having after he has almost completed his donation, you can see from the face of the donor. And we have actually, seen people telling us that how good they feel. So that's a kind of warm glow type of altruism that we are having. Then we are also having altruistic activities where people they try to pay it forward, and once they received goodness from somewhere and they are trying to do good for the other people in their family or the other people surrounding them. And then there are people who come to the forefront when there is some kind of emergencies, like a war is being declared or there is a bomb blast or something like that. So those are the people who come into being, and there are people who are looking for some freebies. So there are different types of altruisms. If we understand culturally our own systems and we try and do a research or study, there have been done. This is a paper, this is a table which has been adapted from 2015 paper, but it holds good because this kind of research has not been done. That in India, we only think that, okay, if I feel altruistic, I'm going. But how to improve altruism is something which we have to look into, that which works best for our population. So this is something which we can also work up. Then there is this nudge theory. This is, again, I told you, is a behavioral concept, and I gave you an example previously also. An ultimate aim of such nudge theory is that you should have a sustained change where you give choices to an individual, but you don't force the choices. So a person chooses on its own, but there is an influence in the decision making over a period of time. So that's called a nudge theory. And this has also been worked upon by people, studied by people, in order to utilize it in improving the voluntary blood donation process. And how is something like this, that if sometimes we can link it to, if we give it in a flow, we are recruiting people and we are telling them by default that you are become a voluntary blood donor. Of course, you have an option to opt out. So normally you will find that if you, sometimes you will find that when you open a website, and by default, the selection is yes. And then you choose to opt out by thinking, okay, you don't want to do it. The same thing applies here. It is like you are providing them with an option that it's good work, you're doing it. If you don't want, then that's a different thing. So those kind of thing, that's one. Then similarly, you can have social norms. Recognition in the form of a hero. Sometimes this definitely is going to work for improving the voluntary blood donation. Then religious and cultural, this we have seen a lot happening in India. This is something, I think, the biggest proponents, where we get the voluntary donors. We have camps being held on the religious forefronts, and this is something which we are very good at. And apart from this, the salience nudges, which are in the form of timely reminders, is something which works very well. So, and the negativity of not donating, the two negatives sometimes become positive. And that's also something which works very well, where you can tell people that, okay, if you do not donate, then this is definitely going to be bad for somebody. And this is also one of, sometimes, nudges the people in a positive direction. Similarly, you can link it to festivals. You can give flash stories of people who have received donations from unknown donors. And I'm really, it came to my mind, and when I was making this presentation, I realized that there are so many organizations, but if we go to, say, television or any social media, there have been no advertisements, social advertisements, which are promoting voluntary blood donation in this manner. For so many years, there has been none. And this is something which we really need to work on if we want to promote the voluntary blood donation. Similarly, the commitment and personalization. So you can, we can nudge people to publicly commit, something like which has been done this time. And the government has come up with a pledge. They have this time sent a document which is in Hindi and English, and a person is also supposed to maybe translate to their local language, and they are asking people, the blood centers, to get that pledge signed by people. So in a way, when they're signing on that paper, there's sort of, it becomes feel a moral responsibility to be connected with the process. Somewhere down the line, it nudges them to go towards that direction. So that has been utilized by the government this time, and SPTC had given a document of pledge this time. So it's like a ripple effect of hope. Every donation you make has a ripple effect. And you are not just supporting one person, you're supporting a family. And think of a 6-year-old with leukemia who goes to home because of transfusion. So it's all because someone somewhere chose to donate blood. So this is World Blood Day, 14 June 2025. Give blood, give hope. This is the slogan that they have given, and this is how I have connected it to improve upon the voluntary blood donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Very wonderful lecture with मतलब क्या कहते हैं हम कि डोनेशन कैसे है, उनका माइंड सेटअप क्या है, उनको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है. वेरी इलेबोरेटिव बट वेरी प्रिसाइज ऑल्सो. मतलब बहुत ही बढ़िया इंफॉर्मेशन आपने बहुत ही कम समय में दिया. वेरी गुड. थैंक यू मैडम.
Thank you very much.